Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be talking about the different roles of the interpreter. The first and the main role is being the bridge, being the connection between two parties, echoing what one party is saying to the next. The interpreter should always try to stay in this role unless it's needed to come out of it. And I will mention right now what other circumstances are there that will take the interpreter out of his way a little bit from the bridge role to other roles. One of the other roles that the interpreter does that would take him out of his main role of being the bridge between two parties is if he needs to be the clarifier. If you, the interpreter, needs clarification from the client or the limited English speaker, you need to state that clearly to the client. So you'd say, the interpreter needs clarification. Can I proceed with my question, please? This could be in instances like if there is a word that does not have an exact equivalent in the other language, and you need a clarification about that terminology, and then you will interpret the explanation to the other party. It could also be a term that you have not heard before, especially if you are interpreting for the medical field. That can happen quite often. If you do not have access to a dictionary in front of you and it's difficult for you to find the terminology's meaning right away, it's fine to ask the provider for an explanation stating that this is a new terminology for the interpreter. I'm so sorry I don't know it yet. Would you mind explaining it a little bit further? And then they explain and you interpret the explanation. Sometimes you might see a misunderstanding between the two people or the two parties because of a cultural difference. It is your duty as an interpreter to explain that and alleviate that misunderstanding. You can state the following when you need to do so. This is the interpreter speaking. I would like to explain a cultural aspect, please. And then you proceed with your explanation. I will give you an example of this. There might be an elderly lady and the doctor is a young lady. The elderly lady asks the young doctor if she was pregnant. The doctor gets offended at this question. So the interpreter might step in here and say, the interpreter would like to explain a cultural aspect. It is very common in the Middle East for women to ask each other if they are pregnant or not, or to ask each other such personal questions, and is not considered an offense in that culture. Do you have an example of a cultural misunderstanding that you can alleviate as an interpreter? Another role that the interpreter needs to play sometimes is being a general facilitator. So sometimes you as an interpreter see that there is a misunderstanding between the two parties. It's not cultural related, but there is a misunderstanding. So you can step in and help in this situation as well. The suggestion I have is to not give the suggestion directly, but ask it in a form of a question. For instance, you can say, the interpreter has a question. Would it be a good idea if? And then state what you have to say. After you have asked your question, follow the client's direction. In all cases, we interpreters need to remain respectful to all parties at all times. So with all these three roles that the interpreter can play sometimes, being the clarifier, being the cultural facilitator, or being the general facilitator, after you play these roles, make sure you return to your main role of being the echo, of being the bridge between the two parties as soon as possible. Do you think there are any other roles that you as an interpreter had to play during your interpreting tasks? I would love to hear about them in the comments section below. Or if you had any challenges playing any of these roles, please also share them in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, and see you next time. Bye-bye.